Hi, I hope you're doing well. One of the questions that I get on my Facebook page or my YouTube channel is how can I improve my writing style? My audience is often university students who either want to sit for PhD entrance exam or simply they want to do better when it comes to their exams, regular exams. So they tell me, how can I improve my writing style? And I find it really difficult to answer this question. So that's why I have decided to put series of videos, maybe 2 or 3 videos, in order to try to tackle this problem. So today I'm going to talk about one important point that you really should consider, or at least think about it. If you can understand me now, you can understand my English, and it's very simple English. Trust me, this video is for you. So one of the problems that I found with students is basically they don't have ideas to talk about the subject matter. So for example, you ask them about a particular topic, you may find that student is equipped only with the basic definitions, but simply they cannot even pass beyond those definitions. And that's why they have problems maybe even in answering or even talking like freely about the topic. So what should we do? One thing I'm going to start with, that's the problem of concept and construct. In Arabic we say al-mafhum al-mustalah. Now, why it's important that we should always talk about concepts and try always to avoid, or not avoid, just to be slaves to the construct. I'm going to give you an example. If you study the idea of motivation, the motivation, you study it. And most students who deal with didactics, they have studied the idea of motivation. Now, what is motivation? You are going to read the definition like it is a kind of a driving force. But again, if you ask the students, what is it? They tell you it's a driving force. But what kind of force are we talking about? Do we have a force inside here? No. If you dig deep, you are going to find it's kind of emotion or a feeling. And now you are talking about concept. And if we go dig deeper, then it's an emotion. You try to define the concept of emotion. You find it's a complex state of mind. Okay. Now someone is going to tell me, okay, if motivation is a feeling, why come we don't use a feeling? We say, oh, motivation is more than a feeling, because there are other concepts that are involved with the idea of motivation. For example, we can talk about the idea of expectancy. When there is expectancy, when you expect something of doing something, that is going to be part of motivation. Motivation also has to do with the desire. You want to do something. It has to do with deeds and satisfaction, because we only do something, we are motivated to do something when we are going to feel satisfied about it. And there is the idea of goal oriented. So when there is when we have oriented to do something, that there is a goal, so we expect there is something, result, we are also part of motivation. You see, now, if I move beyond the construct of motivation, which is only their coined for scientific research and theoretical framework, you will find it very easy to talk about that subject matter. I'm going to give you another example, and I want you to pay attention with me. If we talk about the idea of plagiarism, I always try to ask my students this question: what is plagiarism? It's like the first thing they tell me, it's a copy pasting and etc. But I ask them, what is it? Is it kind of food we eat or something? They find themselves stuck, not able to answer this question. I said, it's an act. Now, when you think about it in terms of it is an act, you find more questions that you can ask more questions. Like, for example, an act, there is always, for example, an act can be intentional and unintentional. And who is going to do that, commit that act? And what type of act? Is it harmful act, beneficial act, or is it going to benefit you? And of course, when you say the words act, implicitly there is the idea of insight, because every act is governed by some standard or some form or some rules. And once you are able to talk like this, you can now kind of reflect on this and say, okay, plagiarism is an act, and that act is done by a researcher, and of course there are some consequences, and that act is going to be exhibited in terms of something, let's say for example copy pasting, or let's say for example ill quoting, etc. So this is why it's very important try to not to focus on the idea of construct, but move to the inner concept. This is going to really to help you to talk more about a certain point. And of course, if you are going to sit for an exam, every point you are going to develop is going to help you. See now, for example, when I tackled the idea of motivation and I started talking about all these elements are going to build your essay, for example, an exam. I'm going to add more videos, inshallah, so stay tuned for this. And what can I say? I really hope you can subscribe, you can follow this page, and if you have more questions, you can ask, of course, on the comment section. So goodbye.